Hi, this is John,
And I'm behind the camera today. My name's David.
and welcome back again to Two Rail Fans. I'm working on our Athearn Blue Box engines today, and I already serviced the other A unit and also the B unit.
So they
And
don't sound like a broken
yeah,
record.
they're a little clickety clackety around the tracks. So, what I thought would be interesting to do today is for me to go through how long this takes me to do. Because I know growing up with model trains, I never even thought of this degree of maintenance to maintain an engine. Basically, they came out a couple months of the year around Thanksgiving until maybe end of January, and then they went back in the attic. However, I guess I was fortunate living upstate New York that the summer wasn't very hot in the attic, and then during the coldest time of the year, they were usually set up in the house somewhere. So, what I did notice with the B unit, which we bought used, obviously it had been lubricated at some point, and the other A unit I had never lubricated before, and it looked very clean inside. However, it was also bone dry. So I'm hoping this will quiet it down just a little bit, as much as you can with these older style engines. But again, I've watched plenty of YouTube videos. Shout out to the channel Classic Model Trains. Watched a lot of his service videos on trains in general, but I also one of his videos, which I'll put in the description, on Athearn Blue Box engines.
What products do we need to do this?
Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I thought it would be kind of fun today to go through and just see exactly, for someone who has done this exactly twice before, just to see how long it takes me, and also just to point out a couple things that I kind of learned doing it twice. I think a lot of these people on a lot of these YouTube channels, uh, the people have so much experience that they don't even think about how this is for somebody doing it for the first time with what they might be hesitant with. So I'm just going to detail that. Anyway, David asked me which products we needed. So I'm going to be using this Walther's lubricant set, which I got from Classic Model or Discount Model Trains in Addison, Texas.
Is it one of the more better products to use?
It was what was recommended by that store, and honestly, I think it's the best model train store we have here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Definitely worth stepping in when you get a chance. Some rubbing alcohol. I may or may not need a toothpick, depending on what I get into here. A clean Q-tip, a very small slotted screwdriver, and paper towel, which I have it down there already. I'll show you what that's for later. So I did cheat a little bit. I already took the coupler off the front.
As you can see, it's over here.
If you think you can get this off and leave the coupler on, I can almost guarantee you that the coupler will fall off at some point. It's nearly impossible. So you got to remove that coupler first. Next, just simply pull the sides apart. The engine,
I'll be moving camera.
top of the engine comes down.
I've moved camera angle so you can see a little bit better.
Thank you, David. So one of the things anytime I'm taking something apart for the first time, I pay real careful attention to the orientation of everything.
So like wherever the screw goes and that type
Well,
of stuff?
the direction as well. So take the cover off, take the weight off. The next thing we need to do is take this piece off, and you just pull that around the ends. Again, this is my third time doing this. So if I can do this, you can do this.
Get a better angle.
And let's see here. So this is the next thing I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do the back end of this first. David, if you can zoom in right here. There's a little plastic clip around the back here. And the B unit that I serviced today had been, it wasn't the first time it had been opened up. That was fairly easy to get off. This engine is nearly 40 years old.
So it's pretty old.
So I was trying to be really careful with the plastic and try not to break anything. So I would just say take it easy at the beginning. Don't push too hard. You want to pick a side here pretty much, and you want to pull outwards on this clip and pull once you get it out just a little bit. Can you see that on the camera, David?
Yeah.
You're gonna pull up and eventually should pop off. Again, I was taking it easy. I'm gonna try this side.
So don't rush it, right?
Well, just be careful, because when you have very old plastic, especially plastic that's been stored in an attic for a long time,
You need to take it easy.
you never know if it's going to break or not. So we're trying to be very careful
So yeah,
here.
take it easy, right?
Yep. All right. So I could go harder than this, but again, this has never been opened before, and I'm just trying to take my time.
It could be very delicate too on.
Well, when plastic gets dry, it can get brittle. So make sure you're in an area with decent lighting.
Peanut brittle?
Try from this side.
So like near a window, lamp, or light?
Right.
Zoom out a little.
All right, almost. Some of these pop off easy, some of them do not. So again, one of the purposes of this video is to show you how long it takes someone who's inexperienced to do this. And I know the next time it should be a little faster and a little easier. All right, I think we got.
After doing this several times, you should be experienced with doing it, right?
You would hope so, but not as good as some of the other YouTubers out there that have done this hundreds of times.
At some point, you probably do it hundreds
All right,
of times.
so finally got it off. So this is what it looks like.
Okay.
So what I was doing is pulling this outwards. So I'm going to set this over here. And you can see we have the worm gear in here. So all you have to do is bend this so that this metal clears the drive shaft, and the worm gear will fall off. Okay, and we'll set that aside.
Oh, in your hands.
Okay, so this next thing, there's two clips we need to take off here. The first one is right here. And what I noticed, instead of just simply sticking my screwdriver in underneath it, if I do it like this on the side, it should just pop up one side, it'll come right off. So that's off. And I'm going to, on this bottom clip, we'll have to release both sides, but I did the same thing.
Since there are several parts, remember to keep everything in your side of view.
That's right. Normally I would prefer to do a project like this on top of a box lid or something. So I have that side popped off, and you're going to want to pinch this as you're doing this, because as soon as this releases, this is going to fall apart. So same thing on the other side.
If you're doing this on like some sort of table, make sure you look at where the parts or the parts fall off.
Okay, let me try this side of this one. Okay, this one's being stubborn for me.
It is 40 years old. It's almost as old as you, so maybe it has like a tummy ache.
All right. Well, I did say I was going to show how long it took me to do it.
So far, we're at 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thanks for the reminder, son.
Take your time. Almost at 9:30.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, let's not bring up the time again, because I don't want to rush. You don't want to rush while you're doing this. So you can see that's pretty bone dry in there. So I'm now that is off, you can pull this apart.
Hopefully.
Should be able to pull apart. There come the wheels. And you can see the gears in here. You'll notice these are bone dry.
Which is why we need to lubricate them.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this Walthers pack out. I'll be using all 4 of these today. We'll just get them all out here.
It's like a box of like 4 little jars of syrup.
Okay. So the first thing we want to do is lubricate the gears here.
Which type will we use?
So I'm going to use a combination of 2 here. I'm going to use some of this grease, and I'm going to use some of the gear oil.
Gear oil?
And careful, I'm going to be careful not to overdo it. If I'm under or overdoing it, I hope somebody would tell me in the comments. So we're going to put a tiny bit of gear oil here. Or the grease, I mean.
Remember, it looks like cream.
Don't want to overdo it. So I'm just going to spin this gear around.
So it spreads everything out.
I'll spread that out a little bit, and then I'll put some of this gear oil in here. Just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it.
Please tell us if we're not doing it right.
Okay, so we got the gear oil in there.
If it's
Now these gears will fall off.
So be careful.
They seem to be turning smoothly for me, so I did not put any lubrication on the actual anything but the teeth of the gear. So the next thing we want to do is put this back together. Now we're going to want to lubricate the axles, the trucks where these connect in here. But one of the things I discovered, it's a lot easier and I'm going to use the light oil for this. It's a lot easier to just put a couple drops of lubrication in there before you put this back together. And I'll show you what I mean when it's back together. So I'll put a drop there. I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing. Drop here. Drop there.
And take your time.
And so what we're going to do next is we're going to put, see if I can get this reoriented here. Remember, this is just my 3rd time.
Now, why do we do that thing with the lubrication?
Well, because we don't want it to stop moving.
No, but like
Okay.
that thing you said that one would pay off.
So we're going to, this trick's not going to work on this one. The axle on the B unit the trucks were slightly different. Okay, so you can see in here when you put these axles back in, there's 2 square things here that need to be the same orientation. Straight up and down in order to fit in here.
I see this.
And honestly, this, for somebody that has big hands or fingers, this is one of the worst things about doing this. Don't zoom in too close, David.
No, I'm trying.
Okay, get one side, the other side is not there. So let me see if I can get that lined up before I put this back in.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And you should also remember where the parts go, because if you put something together wrong, it might not work.
Okay, so I'm pulling this apart slightly. See if we can get this side in. I'm sure any experienced YouTuber watching this right now is cringing watching me try to do this.
Oh my God, you clearly need to do this strategy. There probably is some sort of strategy that we're just too oblivious to know.
Okay, so I got the orientation correct. I'm just gonna pull this apart just enough to get this in. Don't lean on that, David. Okay, there we go on that side. All right, that one is in. Honestly, it went a lot faster last time, but when you got the camera on you,
it's kind of hard. 'Cause you have to try to see if the camera's recording.
all right. Well, that one popped right in, so no problems on that one.
Easy
Okay, let me
peasy.
make sure I have. Nope, that is not right in.
Easy peasy, lemon
I knew it was too easy.
Because why would they make it a pain-free experience?
All right, let me get this changed. Did I get that popped in? So I'm pinching this, and just like I said, I was pinching it to make sure it didn't fall out, and it was clear that I didn't have it in.
Make sure not to get frustrated when stuff like this happens.
Okay.
You could also just like laugh it off when stuff like this happens.
I'll laugh when we're done.
Good, just laugh it off.
Okay, let's see here. There we go. Okay, I think I got that in. Let's see if it stays this time.
Hopefully it doesn't fall apart.
Okay.
Okay.
Since that is in, before that goes anywhere, I'm gonna just do, now that I have the gears here
Put the
for the axles, all I'm doing is putting another very tiny, I didn't put very much of this on before, but tiny amount of grease and a tiny bit more of the gear lubricant, and I'm just gonna turn this a couple times.
Remember, the grease looks like a yellow mustard cream thing.
So I'm just turning this a few more times to get it spread out. I did not really put very much on any of the time. So I want to put this clip back on so that this will not come apart now. So I'm going to put the clip back on here. That side, we're solid, we're good. Not coming apart.
Nice.
Next thing is to put this little clip back on the top over here. On this side.
These pieces are really
That's back
small.
on. Okay, so this worm gear.
These pieces are really small.
So in my experience, this is my third time.
2 times already.
And be careful that these don't come off.
It's a little. I have to zoom in. Look at that.
So we're going to turn this so that those are lined up.
And if you're
Put this in here.
skilled enough, you luckily remembered how to put everything back together.
Well, that's why you got to keep everything in the correct orientation. Okay, so make sure both of those are turned so that the worm gear will fit correctly in here. So in order to not make a mess once this is put back together, I'm still trying to get this other square in here. Sometimes if I use like a little screwdriver here, I can get that to turn how I want it. Except right now, because I'm recording right now.
People who have small fingers are lucky that when they do this.
Okay, still working. Sorry, I'm blocking the view of my thumbs today. Okay, so the worm gear, so this is not going to stay in here without the cover. I'm just really setting it in there because I want to make sure that we get this lubricated.
The yellow mustard cream grease.
Yep, a little bit of that. So we're just going to turn that around. Tiny bit of the gear oil. Again, not overdoing it. Is it all on camera, David?
Yeah, I got a perfect angle.
Okay, I'm going to turn that a little bit. Now, sometimes I have had success putting this back in here and sometimes, remember, this is the second engine I've done this with, without the worm gear falling off. The other times I have not. Chances are the worm gear is going to come off. Don't worry about that. So basically we need to get this up inside here. For the contact, you'll see the worm gear is coming off there. I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up. Okay, we need to make sure that the pin goes back in the hole in the bottom. And there's only one way for this to go in to the drive shaft. So we're going to put this into the drive shaft and get the worm gear on here.
And you get the listen of the sound of a screwdriver scratching a metal gear.
Well, I'm not on the gear. You don't want to scratch the gear.
You get the sound of a screwdriver scratching some random metal.
I'm turning the squares here.
Very satisfying indeed.
It'll be satisfying when we get it back together.
Yeah, but the sound.
All right.
Poor Santa Fe shell just laying there on its side. Just look at it.
All right, so got that back in. Just a tiny bit more of this oil. Just a few drops.
If you ever were to film a video like this, make sure to have cameras filming around this area.
Clip goes back on.
Clip. And your fingers are covering it.
It'll go on there.
Let the audience get a better view.
And I want to turn
Smooth.
Okay. All right, so that side's done. So now we're going to go over to the other side. Other side's a little more complicated just because the light. Some people may take the light off to do this. I don't. Okay. Same thing, remove the clip. Be careful if it's a 40-year-old engine and you have never had this off. You don't want to break the plastic and have to find a donor engine or a part for this.
And it's more money.
So again, I'm prying out that wing piece and trying to lift upwards.
You have wings.
Almost that time.
The train has wings. It can fly. It can fly. It can reach the sky. I can fly. I can reach the sky.
I'll try this other side. All you got to do is get one of these sides.
So if you can't get one side, try the other, right?
What's that?
So if you can't get one side, try the other.
Right, you just need to get one. So I got that side this time. All right, so clip comes off.
Right there.
Worm gear is going to come out as I take this off.
The worm gear is twin.
I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. Same thing, we'll twist this to get around the drive shaft.
You get to hear the satisfying noises.
Okay, so we're around the drive shaft. Same thing again on this. We'll take the little clip on top, pry it on the side. We'll see if this one goes any better. Again, this has never been taken apart.
Be careful.
All right, that came right off.
Oh, you don't have to do as much work.
Oh, it's the same amount of work.
Oh.
Okay, let's get this one.
Come on.
This is the one that didn't come off well last time. All right. Try this side.
It's hard to get this in. It's hard to get this on camera.
We'll try the other end first. We'll back up a little bit.
Yeah, but like your fingers are covering him when I back up.
Let's see if I can just. All right, let's try this right here.
If you're, I'm very unexperienced, so.
All right, that's off. Twist the other side. Go to this side of it again. Just be prepared that this thing's about to fall apart in your hands.
And make sure where everything falls.
And here.
That's
off.
We have experience. Make sure you know where everything falls because we have experienced screws falling off of our dining table when doing this stuff like this.
Oh, not when doing this.
No, but like doing similar.
Okay, took this apart again. You'll notice bone dry.
Get the yellow mustard grease cream thing. It looks more like cream than grease.
I did a little too much in there, I think. I'm just gonna get a toothpick. Well, and I plopped it somewhere it didn't need to go. So that's what the toothpicks are for here. You put that, spin that around a few times. A little bit of the gear oil.
It is not fun to go under your setup table.
Spin again.
It's not fun to go under your table or setup, try to find one little piece of your train that fell on the floor.
That's right.
I have experienced that.
Okay, we're gonna put this back together. Oops, no we're not. I forgot my own little thing here. I'm gonna lubricate.
It must be stubborn today.
This. Just putting a couple drops in here for the axles.
The train must be stubborn.
And the reason I'm doing that is because when the axle is together, it is a lot more difficult to get the tip of that, the oil in there without getting any on the wheel. So this way, you save yourself a little bit of cleanup later. Okay, that sets in. This side's going a little better. Probably just because I did one. So I imagine, you know, some of these people, if you do this all the time, it's very simple. Okay, tie a very tiny bit of grease. Again, this is all going to transfer between.
It looks like cream.
This is all going to transfer between the gears, hopefully.
Do not use the grease as facial cream, even though it looks like facial cream.
And gear oil. And we're just going to turn the wheels and let that mix. Everything looks well lubricated.
Yes.
Not going everywhere, so putting this back on. Sure it doesn't fall apart.
If you're ever doing a video on this, make sure if you're not doing this by yourself, or at least have a camera like, I don't know, GoPro on your head, or something sufficient enough to record your
Okay,
hands.
that's back together. I put the small thing in. Next thing is the worm gear and get some lubricant spread on it.
These pieces are small.
They are very small. I can't imagine doing this with N gauge or Z.
I didn't even know Z existed until like a
Okay,
couple.
a tiny bit of grease. I'm gonna turn that.
G-scale must be easier though, right?
Well, I would hope so. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out soon enough. Okay, turn that again.
Union Pacific.
On the front, there's no way this worm gear is going to. One of the main reasons I was doing that is to get it spread on the gear here. There's no way that worm gear is going to stay attached.
So just
I'm going to put this back in. So we're going to put this back in. Needs to go above the drive shaft.
Better angle.
Hold on here. We'll try it this way. Above the drive shaft, below the light.
Pour Santa Fe shell. And then the worm gear.
Worm gear into the drive shaft. David is having way too much fun with the commentary while Dad struggles over here to get this put together.
I do my Minecraft sword somewhere.
Okay, so I'm getting the squares turned properly so the worm gear will sit. Or at least that's what I'm attempting to do.
There's always hope. And there's always a second try, a third try, 12 times the charm. There's also a 30 try. Heck, you could go to 100. You could go through 100 tries, maybe 1,000, until you get this right. But no pressure, no pressure.
All right, come on.
But also big pressure. The Santa Fe show is just laying by its side. The worm gear must be stubborn.
The gear is fine. It's just trying to get the squares lined up.
The squares must be stubborn then.
I'm gonna take this out again because it got disconnected from the drive shaft.
A second time's the charm, and don't even care if it. And you shouldn't even care if it's past half an hour and 1 minute and 40 seconds.
I don't. So once we get this together.
This was a really long video, isn't it?
Yeah, it's painful for somebody who is experienced in this to watch.
It's a little over half an hour right now.
Okay, that's right. I don't need a time update there, son. I don't want to rush myself. I'm trying to do this the right way. Okay, so got that back done. Tiny bit more of the gear oil here.
Do not use it as facial cream.
Before that moves, gonna get this clip over the top.
The clippy clip. Big fingers. I'm trying to get shot. Okay, better. Okay, yeah.
All right, come on, stay in there. Just hoping the worm gear doesn't come out. Let's try this again.
The squares are very stubborn, remember that.
I think when we convert this to DCC, this will be easier.
Hopefully.
Because some of the stuff's going to be eliminated. All right, I think there we go.
How come my hands also smell like grease and oil?
Because you like it so much. Okay, so that's back together.
And then we'll put...
So last thing to put back in.
That metal rod.
And that appears to be bent. Did I bend that?
Yeah, earlier you said you need to bend that.
Well, no, it's not to the side. Okay. So we're going to put this underneath.
Yeah.
Put this side underneath over here.
Don't bend it unless you genuinely care about this poor diesel that's just laying on its side.
And we're going to snap that in right here. And that should be done. All right, so almost done there. Now, one of the reasons I said to lubricate the axles is you can see there's not very much room in between, and chances are you're going to get some oil on the wheels. All right, so next step.
Get that.
I'm going to clean the commutator. I've seen YouTube videos of people cleaning the commutator while it's spinning, like with the motor on.
Why?
I don't like to do that because I don't trust myself to do that yet. So I'm just going to put a Q-tip with some of the alcohol on there. You can see it is cleaning it.
And don't care if it's 34 minutes. And don't care if it's...
Yeah, no more time references there. Okay, that's still pretty clean. I did clean that over Christmas. So I'm going to take some of this oil that is safe to use around motors, and I'm just going to put this on the flywheel area.
I have no idea what a flywheel is.
I know what it is. I'm just not sure if I can explain it.
Can you explain it to me?
Right, to keep those bearings moving. Okay. We're almost there. So there's one last thing that I like to do. First of all, let me get this put back on. This video will not include me putting the front coupler back on here, because that would take another half hour. Not necessarily, but...
You don't want to see him struggle.
So let me get this back on.
The poor Santa Fe, you finally put it back together. It's been laying on its side for the whole 35 minutes.
So David, if you could follow me over here.
Yes. Being behind
So
the camera's
the
fine.
last thing I like to do, and I did find this, I wish I could remember the YouTuber that I got this tip from, but the last thing I like to do here is clean the wheels, because there's a pretty good chance that I've gotten some oil on the wheels, because again, this is my third time. So you can either drive over this, and I can't even get this on the track quickly. And we out here.
Oh my god.
Okay. We'll run this up here. Spin the wheels forward.
Backwards.
Reverse. And we'll see how long it takes me to do this. I'm going to turn the train around.
Okay.
And we're going to do the same thing on this side.
I have styrofoam covered all over my shirt.
You don't want to go crazy, because you don't want to mess up your track. Might be a good idea to actually do this on a piece of track, not on your layout, but since this is a test layout, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little cut there to try and get everything on the track correctly. David's going to run all three of these units together. Let's run it at about 60%. Don't run full speed.
3, 2, 1, go!
And they certainly sound like old Athearn blue box engines, but I'll tell you what, tiny bit of care there, and they're good to go for, I'll probably give it another year before I open that up again. And we will see you guys in the next video.